Hello, I'm Juliana Hever, the Plant-Based Dietitian, and this is the What Would Juliana Do Q&A, but kind of a different version. I get this question pretty much at least 4 or 5 times a week from all sorts of different places. So I thought I would address it in a video, and then I could send this video to whomever may ask instead of me having to type the answer over and over again. A lot of people reach out and say they want to have either a career change or they want to shift from whatever they're doing to becoming a plant-based dietitian. How did I do it? How do you do this? Well, when I was in graduate school, it was many years ago, and there was no such thing as a plant-based dietitian. And I basically went to graduate school. I did the standard route. I did a didactic program of dietetics, and I studied all of the basics. I did the biochemistry, the microbiology, the statistics, food science, everything food, and I loved every single second of my education. It was the first time in my life that I loved learning. It was just my favorite subject. I'd always wanted to know more about nutrition, and this was my opportunity to really deep dive. I took all sorts of kind of extracurricular classes like sports nutrition, and I loved every minute of it. And I took my time with it. I was working full-time as a personal trainer, and I was full-time in school, but I was also making up for my undergraduate degree. So I had a lot of the science classes to make up, organic chemistry, all those kind of things. And then that's it. I finished that. I did my internship. It was a 1.5 year long internship. I did my graduate work and my internship through Cal State Northridge, which is a local, wonderful, fabulous university here in Los Angeles, somewhere near where I grew up. And it was an incredible program. It was perfect for me. And I was personal training by day and doing my internship and class at night. And I ended up graduating. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to revisit all of the stuff that I was interested in from when I was a teenager. So back up, when I was a teenager, I stumbled upon a book by John Robbins called Diet for a New America. And it shifted my entire thinking about food. Like, I didn't know how food ended up on the plate. And it was shocking and mind-blowing to me. And it changed the trajectory of everything I wanted to do in my life. I didn't know exactly what it was going to look like at the time, but I decided to go vegetarian at the time. So I was like, not eating animal products. What does that mean? I wasn't really a cook. I was kind of reliant on my mom. There was no Google back then. There was no internet that I was aware of at the time, not to date myself, but I just kept reading. But my parents did what most good parents would do, and they had an intervention. They were worried about me not getting my protein and my iron and my blah, 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 just like people are still today. And so they had an intervention and had our nurse friend Kendra tell me that I'm going to be deficient in all these nutrients, and she was worried about me. And they took me to a steakhouse, and I write about this in Vegetarian Diet because they'd ordered me a teriyaki steak with a pineapple ring on top. And I remember cutting into that steak and having my first bite and thinking, you can't unknow once you know. And it was a really hard first bite. But alas, we are human indeed. And the fear of deficiency and whatever could happen to me worked. And I was afraid, I was concerned. And so I went back into eating that diet, and I became a personal trainer. So then I was doing the personal trainer diet. So I was having 18 egg whites a day and, chicken breasts and veggies, and get more protein. But in the back of my mind, I knew there had to be more to this story, because there weren't like vegetarians just dying off. We weren't hearing stories of vegetarians being at risk. It wasn't really a thing. And so I kept studying and I kept learning. Okay, fast forward now back to school. I was back in school. I finished my education, and then I had, fortunately, the wonderful power of being able to deep dive into information. And so I did that. As soon as I finished graduate school, I happened to pop out a baby right then. I have my daughter. As I finished my internship, I took the RD exam. I was 9 months pregnant. It was 12 days before I had her that I passed the RD exam. And then I have one more semester of graduate school. And so then I was home with my baby, because you have nothing to do when you're home with a baby. Kidding. Oh my God. But in between naps and whatever, I was studying and researching and digging deep into this. And lo and behold, you can get your protein and you can get your iron better sourced from plants. And all of this stuff started to come together. And that's when I changed my diet and had a massive transformation in my own health. Just little things, like not so little, like chronic, horrible sinus infections my whole life, acne that I could not get under control no matter what I did. And I did everything. That all went away. A lot of GI pain, all sorts of just little chronic things that I dealt with my whole life gone. And so then I started implementing that with my clients when I started working as a dietitian and transitioning from a trainer to, as a mom and a dietitian. And so I just started reading and then I started writing about it. I started teaching and I started reaching out and connecting with my mentors like Brenda Davis and Dr. T. Colin Campbell. And I just learned so much, and that was it. And then I started writing about it and speaking about it, and the rest is history, and here I am. So my advice to anyone that wants to go into nutrition as a profession is do the training. I would never, people say, well, I don't want to hear about the dairy industry and the this and get biased information. Well, it doesn't matter, because that's like this much of your education is really that. And it doesn't matter if you have the information, if you could study and you could dive in and dig in, you can do whatever it is you want with that information, as long as once you have that degree. So I do suggest you go through the program, get your RD, do the internship, and then qualify and get the RD. And then, oh my gosh, the world is your oyster. Do whatever you want. You can teach, you can write, you can counsel, you can coach, you can work at a hospital, you could do anything you want. And so I do suggest going the traditional route. There really is no plant-based dietitian school yet. I'm sure that's coming. There are certification programs, and you just could do your own homework. And really, if you're already coming into the space with this knowledge and understanding, then as you gather and aggregate all of that science and stuff, it will all make sense, because nothing I teach or say or write about goes against anything I learned in graduate school, except the little fine print of, oh, you need to consume dairy to get your calcium and vitamin D, because that's not true, and you will know that from what you will learn. So it all kind of comes to fruition, and it's kind of this gorgeous, beautiful validation of everything you've been thinking. So I do recommend going the traditional route, and then you put that to work and you can change the world. And so I hope that really helps you and encourages you to go forward. You could also do it via a medical degree or a researcher degree, a nursing degree, whichever element you want. But if you want to coach and you want to counsel people, I do hope that you will consider actually becoming a dietitian, because that's where you know all of that foundational back science that is so fundamental to working with people, especially when you're dealing with medical nutrition therapy, which is one of my favorite things. One of my favorite parts of plant-based nutrition is how efficacious it is with chronic diseases. And like, we were not taught that in grad school, that you could actually get off medications and you could actually heal from things that were supposed to be for life. That was extraordinary. So the research is supporting that, and it's more and more coming out. So you will get to practice that when you do your medical nutrition therapy with your patients when you become a dietitian. Okay, I hope that helps. Thank you so much for reaching out. Thank you all for your questions and comments. Please keep them coming in the comment section below via direct message or my website, plantbaseddietitian.com. You can learn more about all of my counseling services, nutrition services, and my weight loss support group, and my new podcast, the Choose You Now podcast, which is apropos here, because if you want to study nutrition and teach nutrition, then you choose you and you go, because it's all about choosing you now, and doing what's best for you will make you the best for everyone around you. Visit me at plantbaseddietitian.com. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time.